Right, Ross, this is going to be fun. I think this is sort of a step, not into the unknown, but sort of a sideways step from what we usually do. Typically, our videos are sort of whiskey, almost exclusively, typically Scotch, often kind of nice older vintage stuff. We are branching out into rum, which is maybe not a massive step from whiskey. There is some overlap, but it is definitely, you know, a bigger step than moving to perhaps bourbon.
Yeah, it's something I'm certainly learning about. Obviously, we get a lot of rum interaction on Bevvy and so on and so forth, but I really haven't drank much rum, certainly not neat. I'm used to it in cocktails, but you've got experience with rum. You've worked with rum auctions and such previously.
Yeah, I think it was, I've seen for the last maybe 10 years, there's been talk of rum is going to be the next big thing.
Like,
In the same way
I keep
as whiskey.
hearing that, yeah.
Yeah, you keep hearing it because it's never happened yet.
Yeah.
But this year could be the year.
Yeah.
But I think there is some overlap in the sense that you do get, you know, obviously distilleries, you get vintage expressions, you've got age statements.
You even get single barrels, and really am a novice, but we went to a spirit festival recently and tried, you know, so we've got a Barbados and a Jamaican here, and we're learning about the different styles and such that you're expecting, and I think the maturation's really important with rum as well, where it's matured and such.
Exactly. So. Yeah, so rum generally is made in, you know, warm climates like the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So in the same way as, you know, whiskey distilled in Taiwan, like Kavlan, or in India, it matures very, very differently.
Yeah.
I think the big issue, I think, with rum, particularly looking at it from a whiskey angle, is the lack of regulation.
Okay.
So a term like Scotch whiskey is so protected.
We know the laws, we know
You've
it's
got all
guaranteed.
these boxes you need to tick. It's like a hallmark of quality.
Okay.
You can pretty much make anything and call it rum.
Okay, because these look very different. Now I know the brands here. I've heard of the brands, so these are two fairly affordable expressions.
Yep, these are both bottles that we picked up in a local supermarket. I think it's perhaps slightly unfair us comparing these, you know, sensory analysis and seeing how they compare in, you know, nose and glasses, because rum is maybe a simplification, but it's like rum is fun. And that's the reputation it's got. It's like a party drink.
It's a more casual drinking experience to drink rum.
Yeah. You wouldn't generally compare these two in the same way you'd compare, you know, a 25-year-old Glenfiddich or whatever.
Okay.
But we'll do it anyway. Why not?
Yeah.
I think these are both, you know, probably £20 thereabouts. I think, so this is, as the colour suggests, we've got a golden rum and a dark rum. That colour can be kind of given in several different ways. Again, rum is very unregulated, so often you do get a lot of colouring added, or sweeteners, or spices, or all the above, and often it doesn't have to be declared.
Because this looks indulgent. I mean, again, I look at that, I go, okay, that's going to be heavy and rich, but it might not necessarily always be the case.
I think a lot of people assume all rum is like this, and it's very thick and viscous and sugary and sweet and whatever.
Because I would say I'd be intimidated by the idea of a white rum, because it seems more, it is more designed to maybe to be drank as it was.
White rum, you think of you make spirit.
I do, or I think of drinking straight vodka or gin because it's white spirit, and I would never do that. It's not my style to do it. But rum drinkers and kind of the nerdiness in rum is in trend, even if rum hasn't kicked off as much as we thought. So this will be interesting.
Yeah. Let's crack on. We'll start with one of my favourite rum distilleries, which is one called Mount Gay, which is in Barbados in the Caribbean. I'm a very, very big fan of another distillery on Barbados called Foursquare, which make some absolutely stunning whiskies and stunning rums, which are similar to whiskey in that they've got, you know, a decent age statement, decent strength, use different cask types. I think for those who are into whiskey looking to get into rum, Foursquare or their Durleys range is a great...
It's a good brand to kind of...
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And Mount Gay as well, they don't put any colouring or additives or any nonsense.
Great.
So this is kind of an authentic, you know, no frills rum.
Nice. What I expect from rum is spice quite often, so I don't know if that will be obviously more portrayed in a darker rum or so on and so forth, but I'll approach it like a whiskey, I suppose.
Yeah, give that a nose. For me, it's a little bit sort of, it's pleasant, it's inviting, maybe a little bit acetone-y, I think, and this will be quite a young rum.
Yeah.
You know, this is their core range bottling, so they will churn out a fair amount.
I think if you look beyond the immediate spirit and the alcohol, it is light. There's a real freshness about it, actually.
Yeah, this one is only 40%,
Okay.
so it shouldn't be too overwhelming.
Is that also the kind of minimum strength for a rum, or can they go a little bit below?
Rum, I think, is a bit more flexibility.
Okay.
You do get some that
So
are, 38.
what I'm learning about rum is lots of flexibility, not that many solid rules.
It's a bit like the Wild West. Anything goes.
I'll give this a wee taste, see what I think. So,
but I think Mount Gay is a good one, as I say. Going from whiskey, it's not a huge step. I think if I gave this to you without telling you it's a rum, you wouldn't immediately be like, that's not whiskey.
it'll be like it's a young whiskey.
Yeah.
It's again, it's not offensive to me in the sense that it's quite short finishing. There is flavour, but it is very mild. It is actually, I imagine this is a drink, especially with the value of it, that is mixed fairly often. It's good for cocktails as well. Yeah, I think. What's your impression?
I think
you said it's one of your
nice.
favourites.
I think
it's easygoing.
Yeah, I've not had this particular expression before. As I say, this is their kind of bog standard entry.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with. They do one called Black Barrel, which has been in casks, which I think have been charred or something to get more interaction, which is
more wood
lovely.
influence.
They've got one called the EXO as well, which is about maybe 50, 60 quid a bottle, which has a bit more depth to it. Both of them lovely. I think I'm picking up similar flavour profiles with this, but you can tell it's got sort of brakes on. It's kind of holding back.
This is the muted entry point to the brand.
Exactly, yeah. It's, as you say, it's inoffensive, it's nice. I think it's a nice example of what rum can be, because it's not, I wouldn't say it's sweet and heavy and sticky and sugary and all those connotations that people have of rum.
Yeah.
It's, fairly neutral.
And so Captain Morgan's, that we're moving on to, now this is a dark rum. What we see most here in Scotland is Captain Morgan's spiced rum. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, as I think a lot of people might be wondering, dark rum, spiced rum, what's the what's the difference there?
Yeah, so spiced rum has obviously spices added to it, so it's probably
So it's like a flavouring that's added.
It's like a liqueur.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And I think, I think that's probably the main point of difference. Looking at it, as we often do.
It is the actual process of how it's okay.
If it's a spiced rum, it's almost a different category completely. This one is a dark rum. I think it's more like a navy style, which has quite a distinctive flavour profile.
I mean, the nose is a bit kind of almost like tobacco, and it's really heavy and rich. And again, maybe not what I would expect from a lot of rums.
Yeah, this one 40% again. Captain Morgan's, obviously. I'm sure have you had it in clubs with Coke?
It's probably the kind of thing that I have come across. I know loads of people that drink a Morgan's and Coke, but I think I always associate it with it being the spiced brand that we see all over our supermarkets and all around our bars. Whereas dark rum's not something I've had that much experience with, but I like the nose.
Yeah.
Again, from a whiskey drinking point of view, it is okay. Maybe the colouring's not natural in this situation, but it is intriguing.
The palate, is it enjoyable for you, or is it sort of, I don't know, I think a rum like that, I enjoy it because I'm used to whiskey and it's something noticeably different and it feels, kind of exotic, and you think of, tiki bars and all this sort of thing, and it has got that fun reputation.
Well, the finish is very what I associate with rum. It does have that kind of almost like herbal, almost slightly plasticky note to it. That is the way that I would describe it. But as a whiskey drinker getting into rum, they're both very approachable in quite different ways.
Yeah.
This nose to me is more rich and full-bodied and intriguing.
Yeah.
The palate of this is much more easy drinking and approachable.
I'd say this probably isn't, I was going to say not a million, it's probably 1,000 miles away, but not a million miles away from like a
for me,
Speyside
no,
single
100%. But interesting to try them just because it's something so different for us.
Yeah, Captain Morgan's for me isn't a sipper on its own.
No.
And I think they would probably admit it's not meant to be. So even on the label, they've got, a brief recipe of 25 mils Captain Morgan's, with Coke and lime.
So it really is. It's branded towards.
Yeah, we are perhaps being a bit mean at trying it on its own.
Okay.
But I think it's good because it shows you the spectrum of tastes you can get with rum.
Yeah.
It doesn't all taste the same.
100%. That is, I think that is something that naively I definitely would have thought. I said rum is made with this and it's marketed like this. It's going to be in a certain style, but they are two completely different spirits.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mount Gay is very, very good. This one, it would maybe scrape by as a sipper. I think if you like the taste of that, it's definitely worth upgrade to something like the Black Barrel, which
yeah,
is,
so,
you know, 35 quid or whatever.
Nice.
So, yeah, a nice intro to rum.
yeah, something
Captain
different.
Morgan's, I keep it as a mixer.
Yeah, the winner, the Mount Gay is my winner for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's, I say, Mountain Gay is a great gateway to rum, and yeah, again, shows the diversity of the spirit. So,
All right,
yeah.
something a bit different.
Joining in.
Thanks for the education.
No, anything.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.